Hey guys, Tyler here. Star Trek the Motion Picture has been critically divisive since it was first released in theaters in 1979. Many praise its visual effects, sense of grandeur, and musical score, while lamenting its thin storyline and slow pacing. But one central element of the film's story has stood the test of time and gone down as one of the most intriguing twists in sci-fi cinema: Voyager. Voyager is a machine intelligence surrounded by a massive energy cloud, over 2 astronomical units in diameter. Early in its lifetime, inhabitants of a machine planet, thousands of light years away, augmented Voyager from its original form. A popular fan theory suggests that the inhabitants of this machine planet were the Borg, a theory entertained by Gene Roddenberry but never officially commented on in canon. In this video, I'll examine the science behind Voyager, the history of its travels, and whether the possibility of a Borg connection really holds water. So without further ado, let's get started. To call Voyager an antagonist simply fails to capture its immensity. We're talking about a force of nature here. It is one of the most extraordinary life forms the Federation has ever encountered, and its enormous power threatens to destroy Earth unless it can merge with its creator. The first glimpses we get of this behemoth are of its outer energy cloud, capable of emitting the equivalent energy output of thousands of starships. Beyond this outer layer is a series of interlocking mechanical structures that lead to a central chamber. And at the heart of this chamber lies the fictitious space probe Voyager 6. Voyager 6 was built by NASA in the late 20th century and had fallen into a black hole, emerging countless light years away and potentially centuries in the past. Members of a machine race augmented this probe to help it fulfill its programming, to learn as much as it could about the universe and return that information to its creator. On its long journey back home, Voyager, which adopted the shortened name Voyager, gained self-awareness and collected data on a vast array of astronomical objects and phenomena. But in the process, it destroyed whatever it encountered. Just how long was Voyager's journey, though? Let's start at the beginning. The purpose of NASA's Voyager program was to conduct flybys of various objects in the outer solar system and beyond. Both Voyager probes were launched in 1977 to take advantage of a favorable alignment of the solar system's 2 largest gas giants, Jupiter and Saturn. This alignment not only provided an opportunity to study both planets, but the probes used gravitational assists from the gas giants to gain extra speed. While the probes conducted surveys of Jupiter and Saturn, as well as Uranus and Neptune in Voyager 2's case, Voyager 1 and 2 are technically classified as interstellar probes. And depending on how you define it, both have already reached interstellar space after crossing the heliopause, the point where the strength of the sun's solar wind is canceled out by the interstellar medium. We've since sent orbiters to study the gas giants and other objects up close, such as Galileo and Juno. But besides the slower interplanetary probes Pioneer 10 and 11 and the more recent New Horizons probe, Voyager 1 and 2 are kind of alone in their missions. That said, numerous non-canon reference materials have provided lots of extra details about the other 4 fictional Voyagers. They were identical in design and construction to the other 2, likely being built around the same time, that is, during the 1970s. Some references provide a 1999 launch date for Voyager 6, but the specific alignment of Jupiter and Saturn that allows for the gravitational assists only happens every 175 years. This means that if Voyager 3, 4, 5, and 6 were all meant to have similar flyby missions to 1 and 2, then they all should have been launched in the 1970s. It's almost like there's a reason that canon information takes precedent when talking about stuff like this. Okay, but what about the rest of Voyager 6's journey? Well, for starters, let's talk about the black hole. Star Trek and lots of other science fiction do like to play fast and loose with the rules of these very powerful objects. In case you need a refresher, a stellar black hole is a massive astronomical object with a gravitational pull so strong that nothing, not even light, can escape from it. The center of a black hole is what is called a gravitational singularity, a region of collapsed space-time with practically infinite density, as described by general relativity. Our current understanding of black hole physics suggests that once an object crosses the black hole's event horizon, the point of no return, it is torn apart by tidal forces in a process colloquially called spaghettification. The object's mass is then added to the total mass of the black hole, which is slowly emitted back into the universe as Hawking radiation. Except, that's only like half the story. Everything I just described about what happens after you cross the event horizon applies primarily to non-charged, non-rotating black holes, or Schwarzschild black holes. All known astronomical objects do, however, rotate. They have what is called angular momentum, or spin, because the matter that composes them is not perfectly symmetric in motion. The Schwarzschild metric is, in fact, only one of 4 solutions to Einstein's field equations in general relativity. Kerr black holes have spin, but no electric charge. Reisner-Nordstrom black holes have an electric charge, but no spin. And finally, Kerr-Newman black holes have both an electric charge and spin. Of these, the Kerr metric has lined up the most with real-world observations. Now, this is something of an oversimplification. Kerr geometry still has some problems. At least they're considered problems by those who care about, preventing violations of causality. You see, the concept of a singularity is kind of problematic in its own right. It's often perceived as signaling a breakdown in general relativity, but this is actually to be expected. This is where theories like the Einstein-Maxwell equations and loop quantum gravity come in to help bridge the gap. There's an ongoing debate in astrophysics as to whether infinite density singularities are actually a real thing or simply a mathematical construct. But suffice it to say, the Kerr and Reisner-Nordstrom solutions actually make it possible to completely bypass the singularity and avoid spaghettification, thus exiting the black hole at a different point in space-time. In other words, the solution for a rotating black hole with little to no charge, possibly the only type that we expect to exist out in the universe, makes room for wormholes, white holes, and time travel. And the Vulcan Science Directorate thought that time travel wasn't even possible. So, are you gonna talk about the Borg, or is this clickbait? Shut up, Jimmy, I'm getting to it. So, by traveling along what is called a closed time-like curve, a path through 4D space-time that takes an object to its own past, Voyager 6 could have, again, totally bypassed the singularity as per real, exact solutions to general relativity. Now, mind you, the fact that it did come out the other side intact and went on to have a major impact on galactic history is still very much the sci-fi part of the discussion. An object following a closed time-like curve can, for instance, lead to problems like the grandfather paradox. That said, there are solutions to such time paradoxes, such as the Novikov self-consistency principle, which says that the probability of a history-altering event will always be 0. Nevertheless, it's expected that peculiar effects like backwards time travel wouldn't actually survive in a proper unified theory involving quantum mechanics. The fact that Star Trek ever treats an actual black hole like a wormhole, or officially an Einstein-Rosen bridge, is likely wishful thinking, many would argue. So, sorry to be a downer, but realistically, as soon as Voyager 6 crosses that event horizon, it's most likely toast. But okay, for the sake of this video, and for the sake of not invalidating the entire Star Trek franchise, let's just go with the idea that traversable wormholes are actually possible. This may be the case as suggested by alternative explanations like string theory or other theories involving what is called exotic matter. In the motion picture, William Shatner Admiral Kirk theorizes that Voyager 6 could have emerged on the far side of the galaxy before it fell into the machine planet's gravitational field. But when Spock explores Voyager's interior using his thruster suit, He sees images not only of other planets, star systems, but entire galaxies that Voyager has imaged and supposedly explored. This points to the possibility that Voyager's journey was indeed intergalactic. But even if the other terminus of the black hole that Voyager 6 fell into was in the Delta Quadrant, dubious given that Voyager's path took it through Klingon space, there's still no guarantee that it ever encountered the Borg, even if it didn't travel in a straight line. Regardless, the idea that the machine planet that Voyager encountered was indeed the Borg homeworld has been fleshed out in numerous non-canon works. William Shatner's novel The Return explained that Spock's mind meld with Voyager protected him from being assimilated and gave the Federation the coordinates of the Borg homeworld for a final attack. That didn't happen. The video game Star Trek Legacy suggests that Voyager created the Borg, not the other way around, as a way to gain knowledge through assimilation. In this version of the continuity, Voyager 6 not only traveled across the galaxy, but also centuries back in time, a fact that is never explicitly stated in the motion picture. God, both of these sound lame as hell. In the comic Star Trek Nero, Voyager gives the Narada Borg-based modifications to help Nero calculate when and where Spock will arrive in the alternate reality. This one actually does sound cool, I'm not gonna lie. But again, all of this is speculation from non-canon works. In fact, the machine planet might as well have been Cybertron from the Transformers franchise, since they're also part of Star Trek's beta continuity. And Roddenberry's comment linking Voyager to the Borg was more or less meant as a joke. Indeed, there's very little connecting the Borg and Voyager besides both having aspects of artificial intelligence. Voyager is also so much more powerful than anything we've ever seen from the Borg, with its energy field being, quote, of the 12th power. The 12th power of what, you ask? Well, I don't exactly know, but it's, again, stated to be more powerful than the output of thousands of starships. Voyager's directive is also distinctly different from the Borg's. Voyager gains knowledge and power by absorbing and thus destroying the things it encounters in order to impress its creator, while the Borg assimilate organics and technology into their collective to reach a state of perfection. These two things don't really line up one-to-one. Even if the Borg encountered Voyager 6 early in their history, say around the year 1400 AD, they likely would have ignored it due to its inferior technology. Again, we're talking about something that was built in the 1970s. It would be like the Borg trying to assimilate an Apple II. Furthermore, the motion picture directly states that the inhabitants of the machine planet viewed Voyager as one of their own, primitive, but of a kindred spirit. This means that they were likely already fully cybernetic and possibly even robots in the clinical sense, which the Borg definitely aren't. They're cyborgs. Cyborg. Borg.
Sounds Swedish.
I should note that the explanation offered in Legacy doesn't actually contradict what's stated in the motion picture, at least as far as I can tell. The game suggests that Voyager created the Borg as heralds in search of its creator, but that the Borg strayed from their original purpose and later became the infectious race that we know today. Legacy thus leaves room for the interpretation that Voyager was already augmented by another machine race before it ever encountered the Borg. While this is all very interesting, well, maybe to some people, it runs the risk of making Star Trek suffer from small universe syndrome. That is, in an effort to connect all of these disparate events, the element of mystique vanishes, which can actually be less narratively satisfying. So what do you think? Does Voyager have any connection to the Borg? What about the extragalactic synths from Star Trek Picard? Should Voyager's origins even be further commented on in canon, or would you prefer it stay a mystery? Let me know down in the comments. In the meantime, thank you all so much for watching. This is a topic that I've been wanting to talk about for many months, and I finally figured out how exactly I wanted to tackle it. There may be some things that I didn't fully flesh out in this video, but that's what future videos are for. If you did enjoy this video, be sure to leave a thumbs up down below and don't forget to share it. That stuff really helps me out, it really does. If you haven't subscribed yet, be sure to do that as well so you won't miss future uploads, and click the bell icon to receive all notifications. If you want to support my work even further, becoming a patron or a member is a great way to do so. Links to those, as well as my social media and merch store, are in the description. That's all I have for this week. Live long and prosper. And remember, resistance is futile.